Hi, everyone. I'm Jeff Rosica, CEO and President of Avid Technology. I'm thrilled to introduce you to Marcy Leftkovitz of Disney Media and Entertainment Distribution and Helen, Killeen of ITV Studios, our new Avid Community Association Executive Board Co-Chairs. So congratulations to both of you on your appointment, and thank you for taking over leadership of the ACA Board. Change is good, and in this case, very good news, so that's really great news. So, Marcy and Helen, you've been big contributors for many years to the change in the ACA over the years, and some great changes that you've been a part of. So, starting with you, Marcy, I'd like to know, what is important to you in your participation of the ACA, and same question to you in a moment, Helen.
I think that the most important thing is that, just like in other parts of our business and what we do, that the ACA should reflect the community of creators and journalists that we want to have in our organizations, and have a more accurate depiction of all of the complexity and diversity of the community out there.
Yeah, well said. Helen, how about same question?
I mean, obviously I agree with that as well, Marcy, but I think for me, it's such a unique organisation, which we were talking about earlier in the sessions. So it's just making sure that honest conversation continues, that we're able to drive the right type of conversations. I mean, today, everything that's being discussed is really on point for the industry. And also to focus on the user, not the customer. So the person that's actually using your product, not the person like me who's perhaps paying for it. So it needs to be an end user organisation.
I think you're right. If you don't mind, let me follow up, Helen, on that. So if you could talk about the ACA board, and we've had a lot of conversation, and there's a real renewed commitment to DEI education and really grooming the next generation. Maybe you could talk a little bit about your thoughts about that now as the new co-chair of the ACA board.
Yeah, I mean, it's really important to both of us, isn't it? Especially that education piece, and I know Marcy does a lot more in this space than me, but for me, there's a big gap, isn't there? We were talking about that earlier as well, between people coming out of schools and universities and knowing that this is an industry choice, knowing that they've got a tool option to start training on, but then with the people that are retiring from the industry. So there's going to be a massive talent gap, and I'm really passionate about ensuring that Avid, as alongside other competitive brands, are out there in the schools and in the colleges and in the universities able to use it, and that it's affordable for them and easy and intuitive to use.
Well, you're right. Good point. Marcy, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're in the similar sentiment that the tools need to be more accessible to people who you want to attract into your pipeline. And, we really always want to get the best talent. And sometimes the scope of where we look is really limited and focused to the same feeder opportunities. And we'd really love to broaden that out. And the way to do that is to make the tools more accessible to a broader range of folks out there.
So if I can maybe follow up on that. So obviously part of this is a big goal. Obviously we talked about whether it's DEI or education or the role that we can play as a community association, not just with Avid, but our whole community. And there's a community of 600 partners, which are vendors in the industry. How do we really help to use this platform to drive this? If you, as new co-chairs, I guess both of you, how do you, besides that subject, what else do you think is going to be important for us as we look forward with the ACA and as we continue to evolve the ACA?
Just staying in touch with how it's going. There's a lot of transformation going on in our businesses, and all of our vendors need to stay really just focused not on their own personal passion projects, but what's going to actually enable our business. And that does mean that a lot of us are going to have to work together to bring our industry where we want it to be. So at the ACA, I think you used the word at some point, the echo chamber, like to avoid the echo chamber and just make sure that you're really grounded in reality and providing solutions and strategies in the long term that bring us where we want to go.
That's a good point. Helen, how about for you?
I'm going to repeat what I said earlier actually about that word choice.
Yes.
So, viewers have tons of choice, people now have choice, and I think you need to give your customers choice. So that, for me, will be the drum that I keep banging to sort of say you need to be able to work with any service provider to ensure that the massive industrial change we've got, that we all need to adopt, that the service that people provide and that they use is great first time, rather than trying to build everything themselves and then getting it wrong, and then the adoption culture piece doesn't work. So for me, it's going to be about how and who you partner with to make this massive industrial change happen.
I think you're right, and both your points is I think I made the comment in our session this morning. It can't be an echo chamber. I know as a technology vendor my entire career for this industry, you can get into an echo chamber very easily because you think and everyone thinks they're experienced and they understand what's going on. If you don't really talk to the customers and the users, and frequently it can become an echo chamber. putting back what you think you are hearing, but not always so accurate.
And things change very, very quickly. So
They
you
do.
can't just ask once and then go off for a few years and come back. By the
Expect it.
time you've delivered something,
On to something else.
they're on to something else. Priorities have changed,
Yeah.
and it's just constantly evolving. So we have to all figure out how to be like agile and responsive and not frustrated by
Yeah.
the change out there. And
Yes.
that goes for us as well.
It's the reality of what we
It
face
is, yeah.
today. So obviously we've talked a lot in the ACA board about engagement and really building engagement with the community. I'd love each of you to maybe give a little bit of comment about how you think we can continue to improve as we're working on the engagement, and why we were asking people to engage with the ACA and why it's important.
Well, I think both of us are agreed on this, but getting that platform right where members of the ACA are coming to play, to share information, best practice, their experiences, that's coming down the track, and that's going to be a big selling point for me. But also, I think marketing and giving the ACA a tone of voice and the right marketing strategy, and both of us are really focused on that. And I know you've got a new marketing director, so we're going to be working closely with them to ensure that the social sites and all of the tone of voice that's out there is engaging, again, with the end user, not the customer.
Absolutely. And, we just have to really stay focused on providing value
Yes.
out
yes,
there,
for sure.
because there's a huge membership, but keeping them engaged is really a function on what they're getting from the ACA. And I think that really what the ACA can provide is those connections to each other. That's why I'm really so happy about that. Finally, we're going from the customer association to the community association,
Yes.
because it's not about us actually really doing anything. At the end of the day, it's about enabling the community to engage effectively with each other, and then we all benefit from that.
You're right. It's about everybody, right? It's the customers who buy, but it's also the users who use. It's the partners, and as Avid, as we've talked about, there are hundreds of partners that integrate to Avid, and they're all part of it. We may not have anything to do with the sales of their products or what they do, but as a community, we need that entire voice for it to be successful, because for our industry to work, it is a community. It takes a village
does.
to get it done, for sure. Well, I want to thank both of you for talking with me a little bit about this, and I want to thank both of you for taking on the roles of co-chairing the ACA board. I think that's thank you. It's really important for us, and I think we've got some exciting things going forward. I know today, for those of you who may not know, today we're actually in one of many sessions this week that the ACA is having around the voice of the customer, and this is how we can have very open dialogue around the challenges and the opportunities that we all see in the space, and how best that Avid and its community can point itself towards solving what the industry needs solved today. So thank you for your leadership. I look forward to us getting back into our sessions.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.